All right, in section 5.2 of the textbook, page 347, example 2, there was a question: how did the author go from this step to this step right here? It's not entirely clear. So there's a little bit of trickery going on here. So here's what they did. So first of all, this n to the fourth, you can get clever with that, and you can write that as n squared squared, so that we have the square there matching up with the square there. And then this square, you have a fraction, so they square the 2 because it's 2 squared, which gives you that's where the 4 comes from, right there. But they don't square the n plus 1. So here's what they do with that first term. So we have 81. And then the 2 gets squared, and that moves out. Right there. That's the 81 fourths. And then this n squared squared, it moves, it like the 2 trade places with the n to the fourth. So the n to the fourth moves in, but it's just n squared, because it's n plus 1 over n squared squared. So you can see you still have n squared squared, which is n to the fourth. And you still have the 4, which is 2 squared. So it's essentially the n4 and 2 are trading places, but in a clever way. All right, now let's put that on hold for a moment, and let's go to the other terms. So over here, the 54 and the 2, those just cross cancel. You just got 27 there. And then the n plus 1 over n squared, let's just leave that alone for a minute. Okay, now this n plus 1 over n squared. So you can see it's there twice. So you can distribute the n in both of those cases, and then you get 81 fourths. And then when you distribute the n, you get n squared plus n over n squared. And then you have the 27, and then again you have n squared plus n over n squared. Okay, and then you can use the rule: if you have 2 things added together divided by something, it's like the distribution rule. Well, actually, it is the distribution rule here for multiplying by 1 over c, I guess. So a plus b over c is equal to ac plus b over c. And so I can split this up. So the n squared over n becomes n squared over n squared, and then plus n over n squared. And then n squared over n squared equals 1. And then the n over n squared is 1 over n. So that's what they do. They do that twice. So you have 81 fourths, and then you have 1 plus 1 over n. And then the square is still there. And then you have the 27, and then you have 1 plus 1 over n. Okay, so that's how they came up with this step right there. And then from there, it's just doing the limit. As n goes to infinity, the 1 over n goes to 0. Now, you don't have to do it this way. That's how the author of the textbook did it. But you also could have just, from the very start, just distributed the n through and just leave it all together, and then square it all out. Square it, do FOIL, and so on and so forth. And then eventually you end up with the same answer anyways. All right. It reminds me a little bit of that comic here. Let me show you this real quick here. This one. so it's a pretty well-known comic. We have these people. They have this huge math equation on the board, and then it says a miracle occurs. Explaining how you go from step 1 to step 2. Anyway, that's what this reminded me of. That's it. Thanks for watching.